grunge exited stage left, the next major music scene was on its way. It's the year of our Lord, 1996, and Kingpins, Oasis and Blur battle it out for the Britpop crown. Meanwhile, a thin white duke, Neil Hannon, arrives on the scene with his chamber pop musical combo, The Divine Comedy, and their breakthrough long player, Casanova. Renowned for his whimsical wit and with a gift for pop hooks, Hannon was active from the early 90s with a string of innovative albums, including Liberation and Promenade. Son of the former Bishop of Clogher, he also composed the theme to the Irish situation comedy Father Ted. A dozen LPs and numerous top 40 chart hits to date, The Divine Comedy are currently celebrating 30 years in this wonderful biz we call show. Edward Neil Anthony Hannon was born in Londonderry, but...
Do you know where you are? That's right. You're inside my mind. Welcome to my mind palace. Let me show you how it works. Here, on top of a piano, I have placed a copy of Dante's The Divine Comedy in my mind's eye. This reminds me that I am a musician. His band is called The Divine Comedy. Here I have imagined my Fender Jazzmaster next to a portrait of disc jockey Chris Evans. This reminds me of first chart single, number 14, top of the pop.
She said there's something in the woodshed, and I can hear it breathing. It's such an eerie feeling, darling. He said there's nothing in the woodshed. It's your imagination and of the conversation, darling. Something in his heart told him to come clean. He was not who he claimed to be. Something in his genes told him to pretend it was something for a weekend. Oh, come on. You know you want to. Once.
The year was 1996. Britpop was in full flow. Casanova was my third album, chock full of lust, paranoia, and catchy tunes. It was the right record at the right time. I grabbed my chance in the limelight. To my delight and mild astonishment, it worked.
But not now.
I hadn't sought fame. Oh, I'm sorry, that's a lie. I had wanted to be a pop star from the age of 13. Why? Why not? It looked like a brilliant thing to be. I'd also heard it could improve your chances with the ladies, and I needed all the help I could get in that department.
Always end up with the girls, and besides, everybody knows that no means yes. Just like glasses come free on the NHS. But the more I look through them, the more I see I'm becoming more like Alfie. Yeah, come on.
My life up to this point had been a study in shy, sensitive bookishness. I loved books, and books alone loved me. The two albums I'd made before Casanova were heavily indebted to these literary influences, to the point of absurdity on Promenade's The Book Lovers, which is just a long list of novelists and bad jokes. A large part of my mind palace is given over to Penguin classics. Come, let's take a walk down literary lane. F. Scott Fitzgerald's Bernice Bobs Her Hair, efficiently synopsized on my debut album. Norman Lewis, Naples 44, the inspiration behind Neapolitan Girl on Bang Goes the Knighthood. Cold Comfort Farm by Stella Gibbons, where I got the line, "There's something in the woodshed" from. William Wordsworth's Lucy poems, stolen wholesale from my song Lucy. The Diaries of Noel Coward. His descriptions of post-war jet-setters informed the lyrics of A Lady of a Certain Age. A Room with a View by E.M. Forster. The best book and film ever. It's all over my early work. Victoria's Secret, Autumn Catalogue. Oh, I'm not sure what that's doing there. Much of our road crew hailed from Canvey Island in Essex, where many East End families had relocated in the 1960s. Because of this, Cockney rhyming slang became a big part of our tour vocabulary. It's excellent for mind palace image association. So put your Gregories on and come and have a butcher's at this lot. Whistle, flute, whistle and flute, suit. This is my equivalent of Coco Chanel's little black dress. Dark, single-breasted, thin lapels, almost mod. Sometimes with tie, sometimes without if I was feeling casual. Jeans and t-shirts just didn't seem to go with the music, really. And I wasn't flamboyant enough to pull off anything more glam. These were my suits of armor that I would ritualistically don before going into battle.
I know that it will happen, 'cause I believe in the certainty of job. The certainty of job.
I recall being pictured in the Melody Maker wearing this green check tweed number. They captioned it "Gentleman Pig Farmer." Rather prescient, considering I now share my garden with around 30 rescue pigs. But what's this? Barack Obama's? An Uncle Gus? National Express?
National Express. On the National Express.
I'd been playing around with this tune since before Casanova, but it had had to wait a couple of albums before being inflicted on the general public. The label and the pluggers didn't get it at all, so it was the final single off Fin de Siècle. I never miss an opportunity to remind them how wrong they were. Our only UK top 10 single National Express reached the dizzy heights of number 8. And it has been a lovely, silly, profitable millstone round my neck ever since. It's quite possible that my entire career has been some sort of weird attempt to escape the tragedy that was Northern Ireland in my youth, to somehow beautify it out of existence. I've always hated talking about it. The horrors of it disgusted me, and that I should be lumped in with one of the opposing tribes because my family happened to be of a particular religion appalled me all the more. But it was 1998, and things were finally looking up. I thought, now is the time to say my piece, to get it off my chest. I'm satisfied that Sunrise is a fair representation of how I feel about it. I'm almost certainly never going to broach the subject again. I was born in Londonderry. I was born in Derry City too. Oh, what a special child to see such things and still to smile. I knew that there was something wrong, but I kept my head down and carried on. I grew up in Enniskillen, and I grew up in Inishkathleen too. Oh, what a clever boy to watch your hometown be destroyed. I knew that I could not stay long, so I kept my head down and carried on. Who cares where national borders lie? Who cares whose laws you're governed by? Who cares what name you call a town? Who'll care when you're 6 feet beneath the We appear to be lost. Lost inside my mind. Lost in thought. Lost. Luckily, that's quite a good metaphor for how I felt as the 90s clicked over into the new millennium. The music industry is a fickle mistress. I was determined not to go down with the Britpop ship. I decided an abrupt change of direction was required.
And if you want it, you can have it. And if you need it, go and get it. Whatever it is, you gotta love it.
Up to this point, Divine Comedy Records had been, if you like, the physical manifestation of my daydreams and fantasies. Regeneration, our next LP, was not that.
Buy myself a Jaguar, I'm a veteran. That's the door for that elusive place
It was an angry, guitar-oriented, fed-up with society sort of album. Some people thought it was a vast improvement on my earlier Fey nonsense. Some folks hated it. All I knew was, I didn't feel as personally connected to it as with my other records. That made me sad. I wanted to go home. Home to Scott.
It's just something I gotta do. I'll try to make it up to you.
This is Noel Scott Engel, otherwise known as Scott Walker. He is my hero. He found huge fame with top pop balladeers, the Walker Brothers, in the mid-60s. He possessed a golden mop of hair, an anxious frown, and a sonorous baritone voice that drove the girls crazy. And me too. After they split, he had a wildly eccentric solo career, full of dark, frantic chansons and angular modernism. He died quite recently. Regeneration had turned out to be a bit of a creative cul-de-sac. I had to start over. I broke up the excellent band I'd had since 1996 and went back to the drawing board.
Absent friends, here's to them. And happy days, we thought that they would never end. Here's to absent friends. Little Jean, Seaburg seemed so full of light, but in those eyes such troubled dreams. Woodbine Willie couldn't rest until he'd given every bloke a final smoke before the killing. Oh, Woodbine Willie.
Absent Friends is like taking a long soak in Scott's lush, symphonic bath. I make no apologies for that. I had to go back to my roots. It's my rattle and hum. Influences are an essential part of creativity. No one has ever made an entirely original piece of art. They just mix up all the things they love in their subconscious and spit them out again in their own special way. Happily, sometimes it comes out in an interesting and unexpected form. I think that's what they call originality. Aha, croquet. This is where the magic happens, where ideas ping off one another, where one day you win a great victory for the comic muse, and the next, bang, goes the knighthood. On the whole, I know what shots I'm good at, and I generally execute them quite well.
At the indie disco, the indie disco, at the indie disco, yeah.
Sometimes, though, you only just about get away with it.
The other day I discovered a magazine of my brother's. I read it under the covers. It got me all hot and bothered.
And sometimes you go for something outrageous, just for the hell of it. It probably won't come off, but it's always fun to try.
Sexy, I like the sexy things you dress in. I like it when you're sitting next to me, whispering sexy things. I like you 'cause you like me.
That said, there are certain rare and wonderful occasions when you really nail one.
Back in the day you had been part of the smart set. You'd holidayed with kings, dined out with starlets. From London to New York, Cap Ferrat to Capri. In perfume by Chanel and clothes by Givenchy. You sipped Camparis with David and Peter. At Noel's parties by Lake Geneva, scaling the dizzy heights of high society, armed only with a checkbook and a family tree. You chased the sun around the Côte d'Azur until the light of youth became obscure and left you on your own and in the shade, an English lady of a certain age. And if a nice young man would buy you a drink, you'd say with a conspiratorial wink, you wouldn't think that I was 70. And he'd say, no, you couldn't be.
Delusions of grandeur. Like hay fever, I've always suffered from them. Socrates said, "The unexamined life is not worth living." And I am not averse to a bit of navel-gazing. At times my self-belief has reached absurd proportions. This has led to occasional accusations of arrogance, nay, pomposity. Or dare I say it, grandiloquence? It doesn't bother me. I know I'm good at what I do. I know I'm bad at most other things. And without this self-confidence, how is a shy, weedy nerd from Northern Ireland ever going to scale Mount Pop?
Let's talk of Catherine the Great. Let's talk of love and the power of the state. She was a crazy, spontaneous girl. Everyone paid homage to her. Catherine the Great.
We mounted Pop once again in 2016 with the high-charting Foreverland LP. Although I'd never really gone away, I was informed that I was having a renaissance. A Hannon-essence, if you will. You won't? Oh, okay.
How can you leave me on my own? How can you leave me on my own? When did you say that you're coming home? How can you leave me on my own?
There is one epithet, though, that I've always taken issue with. Pretentiousness. To me, this implied that I was being someone I was not. I was not.
When you leave, I become a loser. A beer-swilling, time-killing loser.
Au contraire. I think I've been more honest with my audience about who I really am than many of my musical contemporaries.
I keep the TV
Human frailty interests me, especially my own.
How can you leave me on my own? 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 When did you say that you're coming home? How can you leave me on my own? When you leave, I become a
Talking of human frailty, 2016. 2016. What a shit show. What with the rise of right-wing populism, the great financial heist, and the unrelenting advance of useless, intrusive technology in our lives, I haven't been the new century's biggest fan.
Machines that can give us the things that we like. Machines that do this, machines that do that.
I poured all this anxiety into our most recent record, Office Politics, although it's more fun than I'm making it sound. And it's our first, and according to my accountant, only double album. One must keep one's mind palace spotlessly clean. You never know who will pop into your head next. I can't possibly tell you how lucky I feel to have spent the last 30 years writing jolly tunes and playing them to people all around the world. I'm very grateful to the fans and to the brilliant people I've worked with through the years. What does the future hold? You just have to have lived through the year 2020 to know that, in the words of Doris Day, the future's not ours to see. I'm going out of my mind now. You can hang out here if you want. Just for God's sake, don't move anything. Cheerio.